Follow along and crochet a granny square pumpkin with me. To complete this pattern, you're going to need two different kinds of the Heartland Lion Brand yarn. This one is Gateway Arch. This one is a Indiana Dunes. I've got a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I've got my stitch markers. I've got my scissors. And let's go ahead and get started. So to begin the pattern, you need to be able to make a magic circle or a magic ring. I have some tutorials on my TikTok if you're not sure how to do this. You need to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle or magic ring. Once you have all 6 single crochet made, you want to go ahead and pull that ring closed. You want it tight enough to close up the circle, but not too tight that you cannot continue crocheting. I was counting my stitches just to make sure that I had 6 exactly. To continue on, you're going to go ahead and do a slip stitch into that first single crochet that you made. After slip stitching in the next stitch, go ahead and you're going to do an increase. You're going to do 2 single crochet into 1 stitch. Make sure you're using that stitch marker on the first stitch that you make. Go ahead and continue around in every single stitch. You're going to increase. So that means you're going to do 2 single crochets into each of those first 6 stitches that you made. By the time you're done, you're going to have a total of 12 single crochet. Once you get to your stitch marker, go ahead and count to make sure you've got all 12 stitches. Take out the stitch marker and then you're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet that you made. Go ahead and do 1 single crochet and then make sure you mark your stitch. We want to know where we started at. So now we're going to just do a repeat pattern of we're going to do 1 single crochet and then in the next stitch we're going to do an increase of 2 single crochets. And then we're going to go back to doing just 1 single crochet. And then in the next stitch after that, we're going to do 2 single crochet. So it's just back and forth of 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet. And then that's going to increase your stitch count from 12 to 18. Go ahead and slip stitch in that first stitch that we had our stitch marker in. And it's very important to make sure you count all 18 stitches. And then in the next stitch, we're going to go ahead and do our first single crochet and then mark that stitch again. So now our pattern's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do one single crochet in the first stitch, one single crochet in the second stitch, and then in the third stitch we're going to do an increase where we put 2 single crochets in the third stitch. And then we're going to start all back over again. We're going to do 1 single crochet, and then the next stitch 1 single crochet, and then that next stitch is going to be 2 single crochet to help us increase. Follow that pattern all the way around. By the time you get to the end, you should have a total of 24 single crochet. It is extremely important to count and make sure that you have 24 stitches, because if you don't have that correct, when we start to form our square shape, it's not going to look like an exact square because our stitch count is going to be incorrect. Go ahead and finish that last single crochet. Take out your stitch marker. We're going to go ahead and do that slip stitch to the beginning stitch. So now we're going to go ahead and change colors. We're done with our orange for our pumpkin shape. We will eventually add a stem, just not in this video. And then go ahead and do a change of color. I chose to just start working my single crochet and switch over to my tannish color here. Make sure on that first stitch you're marking it so you can keep track of where you started. That was our first stitch. From here you're going to go ahead and crochet a total of 5. So this is my second stitch. Go ahead and do 3 more. I was counting my stitches just to make sure I have all 5 there. I decided to go ahead and crochet over my extra yarn just to kind of cover it. It's less ends to weave in. Don't worry, I did not lose a finger when making this video. So I was just trimming off my ends. I'm ready to move on to my 6th stitch. This one's a little bit different. This is where I'm going to create that first corner. So I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to do a chain of 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet back in that same stitch, and you'll kind of see that once we get going, it makes sort of like a corner there, and then it's going to help us start working in a different direction here. So we're going to go ahead and do 5 single crochet across here. And just like before, I'm counting those 5 stitches because on that 6th stitch, I'm going to do a single crochet, chain 2, and then I'm going to single crochet again in that same stitch. And then I'm just going to repeat that across again. Here I'm getting my corner made, and I'm getting ready to finish it up so I can start working that last row there before getting back to my stitch marker. And right before I get to the stitch marker, I have to make sure I do my last corner. So I crocheted 5, and then I'm going to do my single crochet, and then I'm going to do my chain 2, and then I'm going to do another single crochet back in that same stitch. Go ahead and take out your stitch marker, and we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch that we made. Okay, we're ready to move along. In the next stitch, go ahead and do a single crochet. Mark it with your stitch marker, and then we're going to do 4 more single crochet before we get to our corner. Okay, so now we're to our corner. You can kind of see where our chain 2 space is in there. That's where we're going to be working. So in that chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 2 again, and then single crochet again into that chain 2 space that we made earlier. This is just going to help us keep that corner square like we want. And it's very important, don't forget to do your single crochet in this first stitch here. It's a little tricky. It likes to kind of hide there on the edge of the corner. That's why it's very important to count your stitches. Crochet across again so that we can get back to our next corner. Go ahead and find your chain 2 space there, and then remember you're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and then you're going to work that single crochet again into that chain 2 space, just like we did before. It just looks a little different because we're working into the previous round. Don't forget this little stitch right here. That's where our first single crochet is. Once we get to this side, you're going to go ahead and work 7 single crochet across because our count increased. And then once you get to that corner, make sure you do a single crochet, chain 2, and then another single crochet into that chain 2 space. Go ahead and work another 7 single crochet. Work your corner here, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and after this you've got 2 more single crochet to work before you get back to your stitch marker. Go ahead and take out your stitch marker. We're going to slip stitch back into this very first stitch that we made. Go ahead and do your first single crochet and make sure you're marking it with some sort of stitch marker. This is going to be our last round. Go ahead and single crochet 5 stitches. Watch for that corner piece again and go ahead and do your single crochet, chain 2, and then work your single crochet. On this side coming up, make sure you don't miss that first stitch right there. It likes to be sneaky and hide. And you're going to work a total of 9 single crochet across before you get to your next corner. Don't miss this little stitch here. Go ahead and single crochet 9 stitches across. Once you've made your corner, you're going to go ahead and single crochet in the next 4 stitches before getting back to your stitch marker. Go ahead and do a slip stitch into that very first stitch, and then once you get that done, you can go ahead and cut your yarn. Leave a little bit of a tail, that way it doesn't unravel. And here is our completed pumpkin granny square. I plan to make a bunch more of these because I want to turn it into a little fall bag or maybe just a little trick-or-treat bag for my daughter. Follow along by hitting that subscribe button. You can meet me back on my next video where I'm going to give this pumpkin a little stem. And I will also show you how I turn this granny square into a cute little bag. Bye guys.